What is up? You've been lied to. All right. Maybe not lied to, but you have been deceived and you have been fooled. You want to know how? Because you've been told that there's such a thing as work-life balance. Guess what? There's not. And it's a myth. You don't think so? All right. Jump inside with me. Stick around. Let's talk about it for a second. Let's have this really open-ended conversation really fast. Work-life balance is a myth. Here's why. Because if you are trying to balance is 50-50, right? Right now, you stand all on one leg, you're going one way, right? You've got to balance, but you're only on one. And then you go back to the other leg because you can't do it. Because 50% of you, I can promise you from experience, the people who love you the most, they don't want 50% of you. They don't. Your job, you want to be great? You want that promotion? You want to create a business? You want to start a life? 50%? No way. No way. So then how do we juggle it? How do we create it? How do we make it work for us? Because I want you to remember this. You've heard me say this a lot in different podcasts and different live events, but how you are here is how you are everywhere. And that comes down to your perception. That comes down to your belief. Okay? I want you to stick with you for a second, because here's the thing. If you are only giving yourself 60, 70, most people live in this like 70-30 world, maybe 60-40 world, right? Is it they're over here for 60 and then they jump back over here for 40 and then they go, okay, family's going to get 60 and then job. But here's how we're going to fix it. You ready? Because at Optimal Self, it's very simple. We call it 100 or nothing. But we're going to talk about that in a second. But I want to share with you, there's a really cool parable that's floating around, and you probably heard it. And its topic is, it's about three bricklayers. And the true story is, like, back in the 1600s, London burned and they were rebuilding. This great architect was set to rebuild. Anyways, here's what it is. He walks over and he asks the first bricklayer, right? He asked the first man, what is he doing? And the man simply said, oh, I'm here laying bricks, right? And then he goes over and he walks a little farther and there's another guy working. He asks the second man the same question, what are you doing? And he says, oh, I'm putting up a wall. And then he walks a little further and there's a third man. And he asks him the same question, what are you doing? And he says, oh, sir, I am here building a cathedral where people are going to come and they are going to worship. Now you see, three men doing the exact same thing. Exact same time, same bricks, same cement, same tools, with three completely different perceptions. You see, one had a job, one had a career, and one had a purpose. So what I want you to think about today is, when I tell you, no joke, work-life balance is a myth, but what I want you to look at in those three men is this, is that purpose, when he is there and he is absolutely positively building something to be proud of. And that story always gets me, and it always brings me back, because when I was a kid, one of my friends, his dad was actually a construction, and he was just started out as just a simple carpenter, right? Worked his way up to a foreman, worked his way up to a managing partner. And one thing that I always remember about him, always, is that when we would go places and they would invite us in, they'd be like, yeah, can Jeremy come with us? Yeah. And we go to dinner. He would always choose places that they built. And he would take us little dudes with him, right? And he'd walk us around and he'd say, see, when we started, this happened. And then we did this. And he had such a great sense of pride in what they had done. And I can remember seeing that look on his face standing there. And he said, and now look, all these people, because of the hard work of those men and the men that I worked with, all these people get to come here and enjoy their families and enjoy a nice dinner. And you could just see him beaming with pride. He didn't own the company. He didn't own the restaurant. He wasn't making extra money because of what happens now. But he had such an incredible sense of pride. And I'm going to tell you this. Remember what I told you when we started today? Is that how you are here is how you are everywhere? He was exactly that same way with his family. Exactly that same way with us kids. And I wasn't even his. Exactly the same way with his wife. Matter of fact, I can remember other women saying in the presence of us when we were kids playing video games and all that, saying how they appreciated how he treated his wife and how their relationship was. And it was no different, because how he was there is how he was everywhere. Everyone has that opportunity. It's how you see it. It is your purpose. It is your mission, but it's also, more importantly, your perception. Those three bricklayers were doing the same job. They probably made the same money, but they had a completely different vision and purpose and a completely different pride. Do you have pride in yourself? How would you feed that person? How would you spend time with that person? Because that's what matters. And I said it to you in the beginning, and at Optimal Self, and we've coined the phrase, it's 100 or nothing. And now I want you to think about it. Imagine if you live fully committed and convicted to everything that's important to you. Imagine 100%. So in other words, when you're in that moment, you're giving that 100% of you, 100%. So yes, when you're at dinner with your spouse, you're not checking your phone, right? When you're at work, you're fully committed to that. You're not, sitting around just trying to get by. You're trying to do it the best that you can do it, or maybe the best that it can even be done. The best version of you is showing up. Because if you'll slack there, you will slack in that other one. But think about it. Fully committed, fully convicted to everything that's important to you. So your relationship, 100%. When you're in it, you're in it. When you're with your kids, you're with your kids. When you're with your wife, you're with your wife or spouse or whatever. Right? Work. Man, just doing it the best that it can be done, no matter what it is. It may not be your dream job, but I'm going to tell you right now, and I've told this story before, you probably heard it. I used to coach this kid in real estate, and he wasn't quite getting it, right? And he needed to make some money. He didn't have anything, so he had to take a job working at Staples on the night crew, so he could still do some real estate and do some stuff. But he needed money, man. He had to pay bills, and I can appreciate that, right? And he said, "Will you still coach me? Because I'm not doing that well." I said, "Absolutely, under one condition: that when you go to Staples, whatever they ask you to do, sweep the floor, stack computers, whatever, that you do it the best that it can possibly be done. Because if you can do that in those circumstances, that will roll over. But if you just go there for a paycheck and you just half-ass it and you just do a little bit or you just do enough to get by, I can promise you, you will never make it in that other industry. You'll never make it." True story. Because one leads to the other. And how you are here is how you are everywhere. So imagine, I don't care if it's your dream job yet. I don't. What I care is that you are committed and you take pride in what you do and give it 100% when you're doing it. Your health. Come on. Imagine that body belongs to somebody you love. How would you treat it then? Sleep. Something that gets very overlooked, but it's the one thing. There's two things that you can't go out, and you're human, right? Do you know that you will die faster from sleep deprivation than you will to go without food or water? That you can actually go longer without food or water than you can without sleep. But yeah, we don't even take it in. And finally, nutrition. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit them fast. Fully committed and convicted to your relationships, to your work, to your health, to your sleep, to your nutrition. What if you gave it 100%? 100%. When you're in those moments, you give it 100% of you. Because when you do that, then you prove to yourself. So when you're at work, right? How many of you go home and you're like, oh man, and I still do work when I get home? Or when I take that day and I leave a little bit early, but the whole time I'm home, I'm there, I'm checking my phone or I'm checking emails or I'm doing something else. You see, you can't bounce back and forth. In the day you can, but in the moment, it's got to be 100%. Give it 100%. Take pride in who you are and what you do. Because how you are here is how you are everywhere. So look at those spots that you're not giving 100%, because that's the true what's gonna rotate into the rest of your life. Take that to 100% and watch your life change forever. Get on the journey of being the best version of you. Get on the journey of being your optimal self. All right. That's what I got for you today. I started with it and I'll end with it. Work-life balance is a myth. It's a myth. Can't do it. Give each and everything 100% and you'll see the change. You'll see the change in the people around you and you'll see the change in yourself. All right. As always, please, we need your help. You need to spread the word. If you're just hearing this for the first time, please jump over to the YouTube channel, give us a subscribe, comment, share the video. If you're on a podcast, please rate and review. And again, share it, send it to somebody. There's somebody out there right now that's struggling, that there might be one of those that back in the queue that help them and get them out of it. Maybe break through so that they can turn themselves into the best version of them. Because if they're not living that way, you have the opportunity to help them. We have the opportunity to do it together. All right. Have an awesome day, night, afternoon, whenever you're hearing this. And as always, get out there and be the best version of you.